What's up, everyone? This is Minnesota Mike back with you for another video. This is another one in my vlog series that I do for the Memphis Songwriters Association, and that goes with the blog that I write for them, um, releasing those about every other week. So this recent blog that we have been talking about in my vlog series is a little bit of a rehash of character development with a couple of twists. So last week, what we did, I released a couple of videos. One of them was where you are the main character and everything is true minus the occasional creative liberty. We talked about River by Joni Mitchell. And then we also talked about Nebraska by Bruce Springsteen. And that was where you are the main character, but you're taking on another persona within the song. So now we're going to shift gears and continue with some other ways to develop a character. And this one is where you make up the main character. So when I initially conceived the idea for this blog, I immediately thought of Fountains of Wayne, because to me, the two people who are the best at creating characters, making up characters specifically, are Steely Dan and Fountains of Wayne. But I didn't want to have too much New York, New Jersey, you know, energy in those particular blogs and vlogs, so I only talked about Deacon Blues. But this next one that I'm going to talk about is a favorite of mine by Fountains of Wayne, and this is a song called Action Hero. So it's really hard for me to talk about this song, know where to begin with this song, because it's just all absolutely fabulous. This was, just for context, off of their 2011 album, Sky Full of Holes, which was their last album that they released together. It's a little bit more laid back, acoustic, and as a result of that, you get songs like these that are just absolutely brilliant and thought-provoking. This song appears to be about a long-suffering father whose kids are acting up at a Vietnamese restaurant in the East Village in New York. He goes to his happy place where he's an action hero in his mind. But the second verse is where you really need to bring out the tissues. And I tipped my mom off to this song recently, and I warned her exactly of that. I said, be aware when you get to that song in my Adam Schlesinger playlist, which I'll get for you guys as well. This one is really a tearjerker. Because in the second verse, it's revealed that he's at Mount Sinai Hospital where they're running through some tests, the implication being that there's some sort of life-threatening condition that he has, and it'll only get worse if he doesn't cut back on the stress. So in that second verse, it shifts from him being an action hero in his mind to being an action hero, and he's racing against time. But he hasn't forgotten about his responsibilities as an action hero, reacting to the news by saying he needs to finish saving the world from all mankind. It uses an AAAB rhyme scheme in the verses, and we'll talk about rhyme scheme a little bit more in my next blog, actually. But it helps build up the intensity of the situation, seemingly innocent at first and then more pressing after that. It should also be noted that it's broken into two parts, so the B within the rhyme scheme doesn't get left hanging. For example, he drops by Mount Sinai where they're running through some tests, and they've taped things to his chest, and they're all doing their best. All three of those lines rhyme, and then the B is to make him feel at ease. The doctors say it's really just an educated guess. I suggest you get some rest. That's kind of an inter-rhyme right there, or intra-rhyme, yeah. I suggest you get some rest, try to cut back on the stress. All of those things are the A's. And then, because I don't like what I see, C and E's rhyme, so those are the B within the rhyme scheme. Like I said, we'll break that down in a future blog and vlog in the near future, in a couple of weeks, actually in just a week. But the rhyme scheme changes slightly in the chorus. and it's more or less using an A-A-B-B-A-A structure. The B lines are the same ones, so they don't really rhyme, and if they do, they rhyme with each other. So he's an action hero, and he should be fighting crime, leaping between buildings and racing against time. So crime and time rhyme. He's an action hero. He's an action hero. So those two things, it's the same line. And then in his mind, in his mind. So that goes back to the A, and that rhymes there. By the way, if you're a visual learner, I would highly suggest reading my blog along with this so that you can follow along with the lyrics. The second chorus gives him his wish of racing against time, like an action hero does, to save the day, and that's all exciting, but it's really not in the way that he'd hoped. So instead of racing against time to save the world, he's racing against time, fighting for his life. But the action hero swears he feels just fine. There's the A. He needs to finish saving the world from all mankind. There's the other A. And the B's, he's an action hero. He's an action hero. And then back to the A's, and he's racing against time. He's racing against time. So melodically, this particular song is written in the key of E major. The verses go from E major to E major 9 to E7 and then to A major. Then it goes to A minor, E major, another E major 9, E7, A major, A minor, and then E major. The chorus then goes to A major, E major, B5, G sharp major, and C sharp minor. This pattern repeats and then ends by throwing in an E major, A major, G sharp major, and B sharp major. It opens with a drum pad sounding percussion and acoustic guitar. An electric guitar comes in the chorus. Much like the rest of the songs on Sky Full of Holes, this song is acoustically driven, with most of the electric guitar parts, serving as accentuations rather than the main focus of the melody. The rhythm of the song is also reminiscent of a heartbeat, which is incredibly ominous and shows the attention to detail that Adam took with his compositions. Structurally, this particular song uses a verse-chorus-verse format, with an ending repeating the phrase, "There goes the action hero." With the new information provided in the second verse, we need a second chorus, and to me, that's where the super emotional kicker comes in. Again, he's still got so much to do, even though he's terminally ill. There's no bridge to the song, no solo, other than an instrumental break between the first and second verses. It's just a story that progresses naturally, even though you never really would see that twist coming. So just as a closing note, there were two primary songwriters in Fountains of Wayne, Chris Collingwood and Adam Schlesinger. And although they worked out a Lennon and McCartney type arrangement where they split songwriting credit, they tended to write separately. As a general rule of thumb, Adam wrote the funnier, cynical songs, while Chris wrote the more abstract and thoughtful songs. So you might not believe me when I tell you that the same guy who wrote Stacy's Mom, which was Adam, also wrote Action Hero. Adam's gift was knowing the moment and being able to write for it, whether it was the songs in Fountains of Wayne or the songs that he wrote for Ivy in his band, Ivy, the show Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, shows on Broadway, things like that. He wasn't afraid to do what was best for the song, regardless of genre or subject. Unfortunately, Adam died of COVID on April 1st of 2020. Please do yourself a favor and listen to some of his discography. I'll link a playlist down below. When I think of character development, like I said, he's the first artist I think of. Both Action Hero, the link to Action Hero, and a link to some of my favorite Adam Schlesinger songs are embedded at the bottom of this section. His prolificness is absolutely something to aspire to. So I appreciate you guys listening, as always, for listening to my ramblings and sometimes messing up here and there. But hopefully you got something out of this. You could absolutely do worse than taking Fountains of Wayne as lyrical inspiration. So I hope that this affects your writing in a very positive way. I'm Minnesota Mike. Thank you so much.